This is Monday of the 11th week in Ordinary Time, the 15th of June. A reading from the book of Kings. Naboth, the Jezreelite, had a vineyard in Jezreel, next to the palace of Ahab, the king of Samaria. Ahab said to Naboth, "Give me your vineyard to be my vegetable garden, since it is close by, next to my house. I will give you a better vineyard in exchange, or if you prefer, I will give you its value in money." Naboth answered him, "The Lord forbid that I should give you my ancestral heritage." Ahab went home disturbed and angry at the answer Naboth the Jezreelite had made to him. "I will not give you my ancestral heritage." Lying down in his bed, he turned away from food and would not eat. His wife Jezebel came to him and said to him, "Why are you so angry that you will not eat?" He answered her, "Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite and said to him, 'Sell me your vineyard, or if you prefer, I will give you a vineyard in exchange.' But he refused to let me have his vineyard." His wife Jezebel said to him, "A fine ruler over Israel you are indeed. Get up and eat and be cheerful. I will obtain the vineyard from Naboth the Jezreelite for you." So she wrote letters to Ahab's name, and having sealed them with his seal, sent them to the elders and to the nobles who lived in the same city with Naboth. This was what she wrote in the letters. "Proclaim a fast and set Naboth at the head of the people. Next, get 2 scoundrels to face him and accuse him of having accused God and king, or have cursed God and king. Take him out and stone him to death." His fellow citizens, the elders, the nobles, who dwelt in the city, did as Jezebel had ordered them in writing through the letters she had sent. They proclaimed a fast and placed Naboth at the head of the people. 2 scoundrels came in and confronted him with the accusation, "Naboth has cursed God and king." And they led him out of the city and stoned him to death. Then they sent the information to Jezebel that Naboth had been stoned to death. When Jezebel learned that Naboth had been stoned to death, she said to Ahab, "Now go, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite that he refused to sell you, because Naboth is not alive, but dead." On hearing that Naboth was dead, Ahab started off on his way down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. The word of the Lord. Lord, listen to my groaning. Hearken to my words, O Lord, attend to my sighing. Heed my call for help, my King and my God. Lord, listen to my groaning. At dawn I bring my plea expectantly before you, for you, O God, delight not in wickedness. No evil man remains with you. The arrogant may not stand in your sight. Lord, listen to my groaning. You hate all the evildoers. You destroy all who speak falsehood. The bloodthirsty and the deceitful, the Lord abhors. Lord, listen to my groaning. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. And Jesus said to his disciples, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, offer no resistance to one who is evil. When someone strikes you on your right cheek, turn the other one to him as well. If anyone wants to go to law with you over your tunic, hand him your cloak as well. Should anyone press you into service for 1 mile, go with him for 2 miles. Give to the one who asks of you, and do not turn your back on the one who wants to borrow." The Gospel of the Lord. Well, we have the wonderful and terrible story that is one of the stories that gives Jezebel her bad name. Most people earn a bad reputation, don't they? And she certainly has earned a bad reputation. You heard the story. I'm not going to repeat it. But I want to point out to you that when Ahab returns from not being able to buy or barter for the vineyard of Naboth, that he becomes depressed. He becomes depressed. He takes to the bed and he doesn't eat. It reminds me of Stalin, who in the Second World War went at least twice to his dacha to become inebriated for 10 days at a time, more or less, because things didn't go the way he wanted them to go. Perhaps it is us who are taking to our beds and not wanting to eat, or perhaps we're eating there are lots of jokes around about how people are eating to soothe themselves in this time of being confined and quarantined, although that's lifting. Still, we may have engaged in that, at least in the past. What I want to suggest to you is something I picked up from the Holy Father in his homily yesterday, and that is the importance of the Eucharist in healing our memories. Not as in healing Alzheimer's, but in healing those past memories in which we had suffered from terrible things that may have happened to us in childhood, or terrible mistakes that we have made in our lifetimes, or in any other way in which our memory comes to play in a negative way. Those are all moments of a kind of depression, like our friend Ahab suffered. And they're not good for us, obviously. I highly recommend that you put the past in the past. I always say that's why you look out the windshield of a car more than you look at the rearview mirror. If you only looked at the rearview mirror, you know where you would end up, right? In a wreck. So the windshield is much larger to look out of compared to the small rearview mirror, and the windshield gives us perspective on the future. So I encourage you to let the past be past.